When things get tough in your life, do you attack it straight on or do you let your foot off the gas and ease up? When you're in the last set of a workout, the last mile of a run, the last 5 minutes of a yoga class, do you take it easy or do you push yourself to the limit? Does pushing yourself outside the comfort zone scare you or does it excite you? Today, I want to dive into why we need to learn to embrace the suck and how by doing so not only makes us mentally and physically stronger, but it shows us what we are really made of. Embrace the suck each and every day of your life, and you're going to see what your ultimate potential is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Each week on these solo podcasts, I try to share some insights on topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. This is just my bearded wisdom that I hope brings value to you. If you enjoy this episode at any moment in time, all that I ask is that you please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you are listening in on. Post it to your IG story. Tag me at Bob Bay. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Share it out on your IG story and let the world know what you enjoyed about this podcast. It is so much appreciated and it helps grow this podcast organically. So thank you. Embrace the suck. First off, gotta give credit where credit is due. This embrace the suck is something that I learned from Nick Bare. He's at Nick Bare Fitness on IG. That's NickBareFitness. Learned this through Nick. Incredible guy. He's been a huge inspiration in my life over the past 12, 16 months as I started getting really passionate about running. But more than that, I'm a big fan of his outlook and perspective on life. He's also an absolute hustler, and seeing him build his company BPN gets me fired up. So 2 weekends ago, I found myself repeating this embrace the suck motto that I learned from Nick in my head as I was out there going for the longest run of my entire run career, which was 22 miles. Now, some have asked, why'd you do it? Was it for a charity? Was it a race? Why did you go out and run 22 miles? The reason is I did it as a physical and mental challenge for myself. Now, call me cooked, and I will not be offended, right? There was nobody else running that 22 miles or monitoring the trail other than myself. It was me versus me. I simply went out there to see what I was really made of. Now, of course, I've been training heavily with this endurance running for the past 12 plus months, so I didn't just roll out of bed and send it. I've been working my way up to this moment for months. If you've been following me on Instagram for a while, you probably see me repost my runs daily because I just hold myself accountable and I want to show people the progress along the way. Now, as I'm out there, I reminded myself of this embrace the suck motto throughout the run. Anytime that inner pessimistic voice would speak up in my head, but most definitely I had to remind myself of this on the last 4 miles of the run. I was struggling and I could feel my body just wanted to quit and just wanted to walk the rest of the way. And even knowing that nobody was watching me or could call me out for walking the rest, I knew deep down inside there was absolutely no way that I was tossing the towel after coming this far. Did it feel like a lifetime, those last 4 miles? Absolutely. But I kept pushing it and I'm glad I did. Finished off the day with completing 22 miles in 2 hours and 57 minutes, which averaged out at about an 8-minute per mile pace, 8:05 minute per mile pace, which I'll take any day of the week, right? This was a huge step in my endurance running career, and I was extremely proud of it. 22 miles, whoa. 12 months ago, I could barely even get a couple, so this was a huge step in the right direction. Now, you don't need to be an endurance runner to live by this motto or to use it. I think it can be applied in any area of your life, no matter what you do, right? When life gets tough, when you're pushing your body or your mind, lean into it and embrace it, right? It's in these moments that we will push ourselves to the edge to see what we are really made of. It's not easy, but the reward will be us to see what our ultimate potential is, which ultimately is priceless. Will there be a medal or a round of applause at the end for you? Maybe, maybe not. It does not matter. You know why? Because you will know what you are capable of accomplishing by pushing your limits. You don't need a medal or a handshake or a pat on the back from anyone else. As long as we understand what deep down we are made of and we have the ability to do these things that we set our mind towards, that's all that matters. So how to embrace the suck? Number one small step at a time. We're going to use this 22-mile run as an example in this podcast today because I think it perfectly fits into how we can all use this embrace the suck mindset. So taking off on those first couple steps of the run, I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. A full send for the next couple hours, and I needed to stay dialed in because it was going to be a very, very long run. Now, how did I stay focused and not get overwhelmed by the actual distance that I signed up to run, that 22 miles? I just took it one step, 1 mile at a time. I set these mini goals as I was running to just get to that building, to just get to that surf shop, to just get to that parking lot that I could see in the near distance. And by doing so, I was able to forget about the big picture by instead breaking it down into smaller goals along the way. This helped me stay focused and present on the run, which was extremely, extremely helpful. Now think of ways that you can break these massive goals and ideas that you're working on into smaller tasks. When we're able to do that, we can build momentum within us as we start to recognize and count up these small daily wins that may seem insignificant, but truthfully play a role in helping us get to where we want to be, right? Success isn't some massive leap that happens on a single day. Success is many steps over a long period of time. And outside looking in, it seems as if someone just made a massive leap. But little do they know or understand the amount of work that went on behind the scenes to get to that end results. So as you focus on these smaller steps that you take daily, pat yourself on the back and take time to appreciate the progress. It's not always easy to do, but showing up to do the work in of itself is a massive, massive win. Some days you will feel like you've accomplished everything on that to-do list, and others you will feel like you barely made a dent. But know that in the long term, it will work itself out. So step number 1 to embracing the suck, forget about the big picture, take it one step at a time. Number 2, quiet the mind. When we're able to separate ourselves from the thoughts that come into our mind, we are really able to embrace the suck. So for example, when I was out there on the last 4 miles of that run, you better believe my mind was going crazy, right? Inside my head, I'm hearing, bearded man, just toss in the towel. Nobody's watching. Take a moment to breathe. I was also hearing, it's only 4 miles of 22. Give yourself some credit for showing up. Also was hearing, you got that water bottle in your hand with that ice cold water. Why don't you walk a little bit and sip on that? Blah, blah, blah. As these thoughts arise in my head, I'm pushing them away and I'm not even giving them the time of day. Why? Because I didn't want to give up and toss in the towel. I wanted to prove to nobody except myself that I did indeed have what it takes to complete the run. If there was any lesson that I had learned from meditation over the years, it's that we are not our thoughts. When we can separate ourselves from all that negativity that arises in our head, we can really push ourselves to the discomfort. And if I've learned anything, discomfort equals growth. Whenever unwanted emotions or thoughts arise in your mind, quiet that voice down. And the best way to do that is by letting the thought in and then opening the door and telling it to get out. We can also reinforce good thoughts in our mind by countering the bad ones. So if a thought pops in my hand, bearded man, you don't have it in you to finish the last 4 miles. The punchback is, bearded man, you are Usain Bolt in the making, my brother. Keep going. Now that I've fought back, I can quiet the mind of all the nonsense and only listen to the good stuff. The reality is it isn't a one-time battle. As Tim Grover, the former trainer of Michael Jordan and the late, great Kobe Bryant recently said on a podcast, there is a war in your head every single day. So the more reps we put in, the more times we learn how to quiet that mind, the easier it gets. So step number 2 to embracing the suck, quiet the mind of all the negative thoughts and fight back with some positive ones. Number 3, visualize the finish line. The power of visualization is real. Some people scratch their head and think, what's the point of me sitting there and thinking about what I want? When I open my eyes, nothing has changed. I hear you. Here's the thing. We need to visualize the end goal, the finish line, to understand where in the world we're actually going. Not only does it provide us some sense of direction, but thinking about the finish line can emotionally impact us in a way like no other. So before I set off on this 22-mile run, I took a moment to think about what I was going out there to do. I would run 11 miles on this run path, down from Playa Vista all the way down south to Redondo Beach, the South Bay of Los Angeles. Now, once my phone chimes in 11 miles, I'm going to flip a Yui and I'm going to head right back the way I came. That sounds so easy, right? Psych. Little did I know what I was signing up for. But the beauty of visualization is that we're almost signing a contract with ourselves to stay in it till we get to where we want to be. Not only that, it provides us with inspiration because although we may not be exactly where we dreamed of being just yet, we know where we're headed, and that's all that matters. So it does not matter what your dreams or your aspirations are. So long as you can visualize what that finish line might look like, that's all that matters. And the reality is that finish line may change in time. You may switch up careers, cities, goals, relationships, etc. And when that happens, just reset what your new finish line looks like. Whether you reset it once, 10, or 100 times, it does not matter. The goal for us is to have some idea of what the bigger picture is so that we can lean into it and use it as daily inspiration. So as we talked about previously, every day there is a war in our mind, and it goes one of 2 ways. 1, the not ideal situation, we let that pessimistic voice in our head hold us back from doing the things we really want to do. Or number 2, the ideal optimistic situation, we use the positive voice in our head to help propel us towards our finish line. And the only way to understand that finish line is by visualizing it, not just today, not tomorrow, but literally every single day. So step number 3 to embracing the suck, visualize the finish line daily so that no matter what challenges come up today, we still understand where we are headed. To recap, you do not need to be an endurance runner to embrace the suck. You can be anyone with a dream or a goal that you are working towards. The key is that when things get tough, when life feels as if beating you down, right? You don't run away from it. You don't toss in the towel. You lean into it. Discomfort equals growth, and embracing the suck will show us what we are truly capable of accomplishing. So 3 steps to embracing the suck. Number 1, one small step at a time. Think of ways you can break these massive goals and ideas you're working on into smaller tasks. Success isn't some massive leap. It's the product of many steps taken over a long period of time. Number 2, quiet the mind. We need to let the pessimistic thoughts come in and out of our mind by fighting it back with optimistic thoughts. Number 3, visualize the finish line. By knowing where we're going, it not only provides us with daily inspiration, but it also helps us push through the hurdles that we come across along the way. So my challenge for you, beautiful ladies and gentlemen, listeners, which of the 3 do you need to work on the most? Focusing on the focusing on the one step daily? Is it quieting the mind, or is it visualizing the finish line? Believe me when I say this, I'm working on all these daily, but the key is just being aware and honest with ourselves about what needs to be worked on. Don't feel down about yourself. Just use it as inspiration to help you get even closer to your inner potential. Inner potential, not inter. Sheesh. Questions from the BMC. That's the Bearded Man community. If this is your first time listening, you are now part of the community. Doesn't cost you a damn thing. Just listen to these podcasts. You're now a member. So thank you for joining. Excuse me. We have Josiah with a question. He said, do you have a list of steps to take to get out of a rut? So that's a great question. There's a couple of steps that I take when I'm not feeling it. I create space and I step away to try to regain motivation and inspiration. I get a workout in or sit outside in the sun. I listen to podcasts that inspire me and fuel the fire within me to keep going. I take time to think about where I was a few years ago and where I am today, which helps create the momentum again. I remind myself of why I do what I do, which is to help people reach their inner potential. And lastly, I sleep it off. I tell myself it's okay to have a bad day, but tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to do my best to make it great. So I would say if you're stuck in a rut, Josiah, switch it up. Step away from the work, step away from distractions and put the phone down, get some silence, get some quietness to yourself and trust that you will get out of it and find and listen into the things that inspire you the most. So we got the review of the week coming in hot this week. Let me pull up the iPhone app. So if you want to be the review of the week, all you got to do is head to the iTunes podcast app and leave a review, and you'll be the lucky review of the week. This week's review of the week is coming in from, where is the review? Here it is. Dan the Man 90. Love this guy's username on iTunes. Gotta love it. The subject is ultra relatable podcast. 5 out of 5 stars. Let's go. He said, I heard this while listening to Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Manis. I love it. Excited to keep listening. That's huge. I was just on Ari's podcast. It came out last week. If you guys and gals want to check it out, it is the Unlicensed Therapy podcast. You will see the Bearded Man as a recent guest, and it's awesome to see that Dan the Man came through from that podcast. So let's go. We're at 65 reviews. We're trying to be at 100 by episode 100, which means we got 3 more episodes till we're there. We got about 35 reviews to go. So pull some strings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make it happen. We got to get there. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed today's episode. Episode 97. Embrace the suck. Lean into the pain, baby. Don't run away from it. That's what you got to do. Just lean into it. Honestly, though, seriously, thank you guys and gals for taking the time to listen to this podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. We got a lot of heater content on the way. Feel free to reach out to me if there's any specific topic you would like to see, if there's a certain guest you would like to see on the show next. Please, please, please let me know. If you enjoyed this podcast at all that I ask, screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Babe. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share it out on your IG and let me know what the biggest takeaway was or what the greatest learning was. And it would be so greatly appreciated. Anytime I see you guys and gals reposting it, it fires me up because it means that this content is actually impactful and that people are actually finding value out of it. The last thing I want to do is waste your time with content that does not help you. So I hope and pray that this podcast is giving you the fuel to the fire to reach your inner potential, baby. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See you.